Welcome to Brain Booster, your go-to source for exploring the world and expanding your knowledge. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the fascinating country of Qatar. Situated in the Arabian Peninsula, this small yet prosperous nation has a rich history and culture, a thriving economy, and a unique place on the global stage. In this episode, we'll cover a range of topics, including the history and culture of Qatar, its economic landscape and infrastructure, its sports and recreational activities, and its political situation. We'll take a closer look at the country's past, present, and future, and provide you with the information you need to have a deeper understanding of this important and interesting nation. So, buckle up and get ready to learn all about Qatar on this exciting podcast Brain Booster about Qatar. Almost the entire territory of the country, located on the peninsula, is a desert. In the north there is a low sandy plain with rare oases covered with moving, aeolian, sands. In the middle part of the peninsula there is a stony desert with patches of salt marshes. In the south there are high sand hills. There are several protected areas in Qatar, including Umtaiz National Park. The land mainly consists of rocky plains. Qatar has a dry subtropical desert climate with low annual rainfall and hot and humid summers. Precipitation is minimal in winter, averaging less than 75.2 millimeters per year. Summer temperatures range from 25 to 46 degrees Celsius. The peninsula is poor in water. There are no permanent rivers. Most of the water has to be obtained by desalination of the sea. Underground freshwater sources and oases are located mainly in the north. The animal world is poor, dominated by reptiles and rodents. As of 2015, 11.6% of the population is Qatari, and 88.4% are immigrants. Qatar is also home to people from Pakistan, India, Iran and other countries. Arabic is the official language of the country. English is widely spoken as a second language. The state religion is Sunni Islam, Iranians are Shia. The population of Qatar in December 2020 is 2,846,118 people. The country's urban population is 99.3% as of 2021. Most of the population is concentrated in or around the capital Doha on the eastern side of the peninsula. Doha is the largest city of the Arab state of Qatar, located on the Persian Gulf coast. It is the administrative center of the municipality of Ad-Doha. The name of the town probably comes from the Arabic word Ad-Da'a, which means big tree. This may have been a reference to some notable tree, when there were still small fishing villages on the territory of the modern city. According to an alternative version, the name of the city probably comes from the word Dokati, which in Arabic means bay. The city is located around the bay, which is in favor of this version. Qatar was once a hub for commerce and exchange, thanks to its strategic location at the crossroads of important trade routes on the Arabian Peninsula. The country was known for its pearl diving and trading industries, which played a significant role in its development. Qatar has a rich history dating back to the 3rd millennium BC when it was part of the Dilmun state centered on Bahrain Island. Qatar was an important trade hub due to its location on a busy trade route between India and ancient Mesopotamia. The country was influenced by neighboring kingdoms such as Magan and was primarily engaged in growing crops and smelting copper. The Phoenicians, Iranians, and Alexander the Great's empire all gained a foothold in Qatar at various times. In the 7th century, it became part of the Arab Caliphate. After the collapse of the Caliphate, Qatar's history was linked to Bahrain and it experienced economic growth through the pearl trade. However, this prosperity was short-lived as neighboring countries fought over the peninsula, leading to its devastation. Qatar was ruled by various Arab emirs, the Portuguese, and the Ottoman Empire, with the local sheikhs retaining significant powers of authority even under Ottoman rule. The history of Qatar is marked by disputes over its territory among multiple parties, including Iran, the Ottoman Empire, Arab tribes, the rulers of Oman, and the Saudis. In the 17th century, England and Holland tried to intervene in the power struggle in the region. Qatar was ruled by the Al Aman dynasty from the 17th to the 18th century, then by the Al Khalifa clan, and eventually by the Al Thaniyat Tamim dynasty. The members of the Al Thani dynasty adopted Wahhabism as the new form of Islam. Qatar was under British protectorate in 1930 and was ruled by Sheikh Jassim bin Muhammad Al Thani, who united the tribes and was considered the founder of the principality. Britain intervened in the Qatari-Bahrain War in 1868 and secured the Ottoman Empire's renunciation of its claims to Qatar in 1913. In 1916, Britain signed an agreement with Qatar to make it a British protectorate, renewing the treaty in 1934, in which Britain was responsible for Qatar's security and foreign relations in exchange for access to the extraction of sponges and pearls. Qatar's population faced opposition from British colonialists and local rulers who imposed harsh policies. After World War II, the liberation movement gained momentum and resulted in protests, particularly in 1956 in support of Egypt during the Suez Crisis. The protests were mainly attended by the poor, traders, tribesmen, oil workers, and former slaves. In 1960, mass demonstrations led to the overthrow of the despotic ruler Abdullah Al Thani and replacement by Sheikh Ahmed Al Thani. Britain handed over part of the concession area of the Qatar Petroleum Company to Sheikh Ahmed in 1961, but the protests continued, leading to reforms and the creation of organizations promoting Arab solidarity. Political organizations also emerged in the country, supporting stronger ties with Arab countries and condemning Israel during the 1967 Six-Day War. Qatar tried to organize a federation of the Arab Emirates of the Gulf in 1968 to 1969, but negotiations with Bahrain and the Principalities of the Treaty of Oman led to disagreements with the modern UAE. Qatar became an independent state on September 1, 1971, with a provisional constitution and the country's first government being formed on April 2, 1970. The first emir of Qatar was Sheikh Ahmed, who ruled until being overthrown by his cousin, Khalifa bin Hamad Al Thani, in 1972. In 1974, the government of the country created the General Petroleum Corporation, which controlled the activities of foreign oil producers and refiners operating in Qatar. The emir and the ruling dynasty have since controlled the state's domestic policy. In foreign policy, Qatar has focused on cooperation with neighboring states and countries of the Persian Gulf region, predominantly Saudi Arabia, and played an important role in expanding Arab-Israeli economic and political ties. Qatar is an absolute monarchy. The government of Qatar is comprised of various ministries, councils, and agencies, and employs around 90,000 individuals, including both locals and foreigners. Qatar's system of government operates on the separation and cooperation of powers, with the emir serving as the head of state and commander-in-chief of the armed forces. The emir is assisted by the Council of Ministers in executive power, while legislative power is vested in the Consultative Council. The judicial power is held by the courts of law, and all judicial decisions are made in the name of the emir. In the summer of 2013, Samad ibn Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani decided to give up power in favor of his son. On June 25, Tamim ibn Hamad Al Thani became the new emir of Qatar. In 2014, he had a conflict with Saudi Arabia, supported by Bahrain and the UAE. In March 2014, Saudi Arabia recalled its ambassador from Doha, and Bahrain and the UAE followed suit. A joint statement by the three countries was issued, accusing Qatar of engaging with organizations that threaten the security and stability of member states of the Council in violation of the Security Cooperation Agreement, signed in December 2013 in Riyadh. The conflict was not resolved until November of that year, when 5 Council countries, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, Bahrain and Kuwait, concluded an agreement in Riyadh. Also under him, the country continued its active foreign policy. Already on September 23, 2014, the aviation of Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, UAE and Jordan struck IS positions in Syria. On June 5, 2017, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Bahrain and the United Arab Emirates announced that they had severed diplomatic relations as well as land, sea and air links with Qatar, accusing it of supporting terrorist groups. In addition, a contingent of Qatari troops is to be withdrawn from Yemen, where it participates in the Arab coalition in the fighting against Hussites. The reason for the conflict, according to the press, is the alleged links of Qatar with the Muslim Brotherhood and the Palestinian movement Hamas. Islam plays a significant role in the daily lives of the Qatari people, and its influence can be seen throughout the country. Mosques and Islamic institutions are prevalent, and religious practices such as prayer and fasting are widely observed. The country also has a strong tradition of Islamic art, with stunning examples of calligraphy and illuminated manuscripts on display in museums and private collections. Public life in Qatar is enriched by traditional cultural forms including majlis gatherings featuring poetry and historical narratives, pearl hunting celebrations with music, folkloric dances like al-arda, and calligraphy and architecture as dominant forms of visual art. The visual art scene has also expanded in recent decades with the establishment of the Qatar Society of Fine Arts. One notable landmark in Qatar is the Museum of Islamic Art, which houses a vast collection of Islamic art and artifacts from across the Islamic world. The museum's collection includes ceramics, textiles, manuscripts, and jewelry, as well as architectural elements from some of the world's most famous Islamic buildings. The building itself is an architectural marvel, designed by the renowned architect I.M. Pei and set on the Doha Bay with views of the city's skyline. The museum building is in the style of ancient Islamic architecture, but has a unique design. It was the first of its kind in the Arab Gulf states and contains a major collection of Islamic art, a research institute and library. The museum also includes IDAM, an upscale restaurant serving French Mediterranean cuisine with an Arabic twist. Sabiha Al-Hammer, a Tunisian writer and art historian, served as the museum's founder and director from 2006 to 2008. The museum has a total area of 45,000 square meters and is located on the edge of Doha Harbor at the southern tip of Doha Bay. The museum was completed in 2006, but the interior of the museum has undergone various modifications since then with the participation of the Emir of Qatar, and it has been available to the public since December 8, 2008. The museum has a collection of Islamic art, which has been assembled since the late 1980s, and also includes manuscripts, textiles, and ceramics. It is one of the most comprehensive collections of Islamic artifacts in the world, items found or stemming from Spain, Egypt, Iran, Iraq, Turkey, India and Central Asia. The peculiarity of the exhibition is the dark rooms without general lighting, with beams of light directed at each individual piece. Another notable museum in Qatar is the Al Jazeera Museum of Modern Art, which showcases contemporary art from across the Arab world. The museum has a large collection of works by both established and emerging artists, and its exhibitions often reflect on themes of identity, cultural heritage, and the modern experience. The museum also offers a variety of educational programs, including workshops and talks, that aim to promote art and culture in the country. In conclusion, Qatar is a country with a rich cultural heritage and a strong connection to its Islamic roots. Its landmarks such as the Museum of Islamic Art and the Al Jazeera Museum of Modern Art are testament to the country's deep appreciation for the arts and its commitment to preserving its cultural heritage. Another must-visit destination is the dazzling Souk Waqif, a traditional Arabian marketplace full of colorful stalls and lively atmosphere. For a unique cultural experience, the heritage village of Al Zubara is also a recommended stop, showcasing the rich history and lifestyle of Qatar's past. Additionally, the Pearl Qatar, an artificial island built in the shape of a string of pearls, is a popular destination for its luxurious shopping, dining, and entertainment options. Qatar hosted the 2022 World Cup, and the first Formula One Qatar Grand Prix was held in 2021 at the Lusail Autodrome. Qatar has always participated in the Summer Olympics, winning 8 medals, 3 of which were won by high jumper Mudassessa Barzhim. Qatar has hosted the Asian Cup twice, the ATP and WTA tennis tournaments every year, and stages of athletics Diamond League. In 2014, Qatar's 3x3 basketball team won the World Championship title, and in 2015, hosted several international competitions such as the World Men's Handball Championship, World Amateur Boxing Championships, World Robotics Olympics, and came in second place in the Handball Championship with newly naturalized athletes. Despite a bribery scandal in 2013, Qatar has been successful in hosting major international sports events. The traditional cuisine of Qatar is not widely known to foreign tourists. For many years, the people of Qatar, who lived in harsh conditions with limited food resources, developed simple and modest cooking methods. Almost all dishes were made using only 3 ingredients: dates, camel milk, and butter. Meat was scarce, so these dishes are only available to taste in Bedouin tents in the desert. Most restaurants and cafes offer more European dishes and recipes borrowed from other Arab countries with richer culinary traditions, such as hummus, shish kebab, tikka, mutable, roasted meat or fish. Indian and Pakistani cuisine can be found in restaurants and cafes all over the country. Juice and coffee are popular beverages, with traditional Bedouin coffee being weak and sweet and traditional Arabic coffee being strong and unsweetened with added spices like cardamom and ground date seeds. Alcohol consumption is rare, though it can be found in hotels and expensive restaurants with a license. Qataris themselves drink very little alcohol. Visitors to Qatar have the option of using taxis, which are affordable, accessible 24/7, and easily recognizable due to their vibrant colors. The starting rate for a trip is 10 Qatari riyals, and during the day, the charge per kilometer in Doha is 1.60 Qatari riyals, and at night, from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m., it's 1.90 Qatari riyals. The rate outside of the capital remains at 1.90 Qatari riyals regardless of the time of day. Phone bookings incur an additional 5 Qatari riyals fee, and a wait of 15 minutes will cost 8 Qatari riyals. There are no passenger trains available in Qatar as the railway is limited to industrial complexes. The city bus network is expanding, with new routes connecting the city center to the airport and the West Bay area. Payments on city buses can be made using Karwa smart cards, which can be obtained from vending machines for 10 Qatari riyals, 2 trips within the city, 20 Qatari riyals, daily pass, and 30 Qatari riyals, rechargeable card for unlimited use. For tourists, a hop-on hop-off double-decker bus with stops at the Souq Waqf Market, Pearl Qatar Island, the Corniche waterfront, and museums has been introduced. A 24-hour ticket for adults costs 190 Qatari riyals, while students and children aged 5 to 15 years old pay 90 Qatari riyals. Thank you for sticking with us until the end of the podcast. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to give us a like and leave a comment about this episode on Qatar. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel Brain Booster.